Bring in Republican Congressman from the great state of California, Devin Nunes, ranking member of the House Intel Committee. Sir, great to have you. This story about the Bidens has been percolating, just below the surface in Washington for a while.
That's right. It's the only least best kept secret in Washington. John Solomon from The Hill has had this for months and months and months. There were numerous stories about it. Rudy Giuliani's been on every mainstream media news show several months ago. Ukrainians have been coming to Congress, trying to meet with numerous members of Congress.
What do they want to say?
Well, they claim that they have documents that we would have an interest in that relate to the Russia investigation, as it relates to this black ledger. Maybe some people have heard of this, and they claim that's disinformation. And then they also claim that this contract with Biden's son was a problem. So the idea that you fast forward all the way to late July, that President Trump would have some conversation trying to pressure the Ukrainian president just doesn't add up, because everyone knew it, including the president's own personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani.
And the question is, according to the Washington Post, a whistleblower evidently is speaking to somebody while he's waiting to find out if he can speak to your committee, Adam Schiff's, what you now chairs. He said 8 times the president brought it up. And in turn, mysteriously, the aid, billions of dollars, was held up to Ukraine mysteriously between July and August. And they wonder if there's a link. Would it bother you if there was a link between that?
Well, I think it is very tough to speculate, but I want to go back and just, reiterate what we talked about. The Ukrainians were trying to give us this information, so there would be no reason why. They just want to give it to the right people in our government, as I understood it. So, in the right place to send that information would be the Department of Justice.
Mm-hmm. Well, Americans are not, we don't trust other countries necessarily. Ukraine, I don't know what they're going to say. Mm-hmm. Can we even trust what they say? But when you look at this man who's running for president, he was our vice president. He's admitted on camera that he wanted to fire this prosecutor. He ended up firing him within several hours. Then he says he never talked to his son about his successful business endeavors. But then his son tells the New Yorker magazine, yes, I did talk to my dad about it once. Who's telling the truth, and what's going on here? Isn't that the real abuse of power, or is it the president having this conversation?
Well, the very thing they're accusing President Trump of doing, Biden did, and admitted that he did. So, and I just go back to, what is this all about? This is a whistleblower, as you said, Brian, that supposedly wants to remain secret, yet all his secrets, his or her secrets, are spilling out in the pages of the New York Times, the Washington Post, and NBC News. We have no idea. This could maybe not even be about Ukraine. We have seen absolutely nothing. We got briefed last week from the ICIG, came and met with us. Didn't tell us any information. So we're supposed to meet this week with the acting DNI. Maybe we'll get more information.
Well, Zelensky's, it turns out that the president's office put out this statement. This is what the president was referring to. Quote, I know what the conversation was about, and I think there was no pressure. This conversation was long. It was friendly. It touched on many questions, sometimes requiring serious answers. Now, they're concerned because the Ukrainians need our money so much and our support so much. They don't want to get on the wrong. They don't want to get involved in American politics.
Right.
But, man, they're front and center. You know what the big story of the Ukraine is? That President Obama let them get carved up by the Russians, gave them blankets and MREs, and this president came in and gave them lethal weapons to defend themselves. Right. Now everyone's concerned about Ukraine getting the aid they want.
Well, no one was concerned about Russia until after Hillary Clinton lost the election. The Republicans on the House Intelligence Committee and in the House were pressuring the Obama administration, hey, here's money, get weapons to the Ukrainians. Mm-hmm. They didn't care about Russia until after they lost the election. Then all of a sudden, Russia was the biggest problem on the face of the planet. None of this makes sense. I just think what this is ultimately amounts to is you see Biden is flailing, I think, in the polls. I don't know what it almost looks like like some type of political operation. Doesn't it feel like the Russia hoax all over again? It's like the Ukrainian hoax.
Well, but what about the whistleblower? Because apparently the story is, on Friday when we all presume that this was somebody who had actually heard the president say it or read the transcript. Now it has been revealed, I think CNN revealed, that apparently this particular person had no direct knowledge of it. It almost sounded like he had heard somebody say something.
He had a cup against the wall.
Called a game of telephone.
And so now his complaint is the whistleblower complaint. And that's why the Department of Justice says, no, it doesn't rise to the level where you in Congress would wind up seeing it.
Well, one of the things I said yesterday, if we're now going to be Congress, if we get to listen in and read transcripts of the president's talking, I mean, I'm all for it, but I want to start with, you know, what did Biden say to the Ukrainians?
Right. Well, that's what the president said.
Obama say to Putin? I mean, we want to know all of that.
The president said, I want to release the transcripts. The problem with that is, can these world leaders trust me? I need to have conversations with them, so there's a fine line there.
And remember the president. Remember when Julian Assange let all those State Department cables out, how embarrassing it was?
Right. And remember, this is not the only time the president had. Remember, he had his transcripts with the Mexican prime minister leak out and the Australian prime minister leak out. So this would just be another example of that, where pieces of his private conversations are leaking out all over the news.
Well, guess what you're going to be doing? Talking a little impeachment. Here are the Democrats letting us know we have no choice. Listen.
This would be, I think, the most profound violation of the presidential oath of office. There is no privilege that covers corruption.
We know that that there is absolutely no equivalence between Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and what this president has potentially done.
We need to move forward with impeachment, not even impeachment inquiry at this point. We're beyond that. We're at impeachment, period.
Everybody wants to impeach, but we don't know what for. I'll go back to, we have no idea what this whistleblower even has, if the whistleblower has anything.
Michael Horowitz is about to come out with his report. Did they tipped you off about what could be in it and where we should be focused on?
Remember, House Republicans on the Intelligence Committee already surmised and came out with a report that there was FISA abuse. So we know there was FISA abuse. The only question is there was 4 renewals on it, 4 separate times they went to the FISA court. We believe all 4 of those were fraudulent. We hope that there's new evidence that Horowitz is able to get is, you know, when did this investigation begin? When did they first take this to the FISA court? And was there a conspiracy involved? Who was involved in putting all of this together? Because ultimately we want to see people held accountable for their actions here.
Before you leave, given all of this news about Ukraine, do you think that could actually be really bad news for Joe Biden and spell the end of his campaign?
I just have to think that none of this is helping Joe Biden at all. He's already, his lead, you know, he started in the high 30s. If you look at all the early states, he's basically either tied or behind, whether that's Iowa, California. So I don't think it looks good for him.
So it could be super progressive running against President Trump.
I think, yeah, it's looking like that for now.
Okay.
Well, great
Thanks
to
for
see
having
you
me.
in person.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thanks for coming in.
Congressman.